Hey everybody, it is Carla with Carla's Clever Crafts. Tonight we're going to make a turkey wreath, working on a fall design. So we're going to use a wreath kit that is available in my Etsy shop. If anybody would like to have the link to that, let me know in the comments. We're going to use this turkey sign. It's a thick, heavy wood sign. And then the kit comes with these 4 ribbons. So it comes with this teal and orange pumpkin ribbon, the turkey ribbon that also has pumpkins and leaves, and then the orange and teal blue plaid and the teal and white plaid. So all 4 of these, and you get 3 yards of each ribbon along with the sign. So that's what we're going to design with tonight. We're also going to be using 3 different colors of mesh. I'm using a teal poly mesh and an orange poly mesh, as well as this teal and orange combined mesh. This is called wide strip mesh. All 3 of these are available at craftoutlet.com. That's where I got these. We will also need 18 pipe cleaners, a 14-inch wire frame from the Dollar Tree, and we will need a clip, some DAP glue. We're going to 3 of these cable mounts for attaching our sign. And actually, I'm sorry, we're going to need 21 pipe cleaners because we need 3 of those to attach our sign. I think I might have that quickly lost my clips, my cable mounts. Okay, so we'll need 3 cable mounts, some scissors, and we're going to need, I'm using a wood burning tool to cut my mesh. So you'll need some way to cut mesh. And then we're going to actually attach some pumpkins, little pumpkins at the end. So we'll need hot glue for that. Okay, so let me lay these things out of the way and we'll get started. First thing I'm going to do is show you how I wire my frames for the majority of my designs. Tonight's petal that we're going to be using, the mesh methods, we're going to use 2. We're going to use the one that I created, which is the Klever petal, and then we're going to also use cruffles. So I'm going to start with these 18 pipe cleaners. I might have forgot to mention you also need some type of glue. I use rapid fuse DAP glue because it's fast curing. It cures completely within 30 minutes, but you can also use E6000. Let me click these on. Okay. So when I wire my frames, I use the 14-inch Dollar Tree frame the majority of the time, and it has 4 rings going around, and then it has 6 sections, and the section is in between each of these crossbars is 1 section. So I usually do 1 section at a time, and I just go in on the inside 2 rings and place my first pipe cleaner. And then when I twist the knot, I twist it on the inside wire. So we're wrapping it around 2, but we're putting our knot over the inside one. And I'm just going to go around and do all 6 inside ones, and then we'll do the outside. So in each section on the inside 2 wires, you're going to place 1 pipe cleaner. And we're going to use a total of 18. Happy 4th of July, everybody. Hi, Leanne, Katrina, Diane. How are you guys doing today? Okay. So we have 2 more. So we end up with 6 pipe cleaners on the inside. And when I'm putting these in, I always push these 6 to the inside just so I don't get confused or mixed up whenever I'm putting the outside ones on, and then it also helps me to have those out of the way when I start placing the mesh. Okay, so now that we have the 6 on the inside, we'll do the outside 2 rings, and in each of the sections between the 2 crossbars, we're going to put 2 on the outside 2 rings, and I come in about 1 inch to 1.5 inches from each crossbar and place them. So we'll come in from this crossbar first. Hi, Shannon. Oh, technology is never my friend. Okay. Okay, and then I'm going to come to the other side about 1.5, between 1 and 1.5 inches in. Okay, so then we end up with 3 in each section, and we'll go all the way around, and we'll have a total of 12 on the outside. Sometimes I do wire my frames in advance, but I thought tonight I hadn't shown how I do my frames, so I thought I would show that tonight. I haven't done that in a while. I can't speak. Hi, Linda. Happy 4th of July. When I originally decided I was going to go live, to be honest with you, I forgot it was a holiday. But it's okay. I've been watching a couple of my grandkids, so this is like the only time in 2 weeks I've had to really be able to go live. So I thought better take advantage. This Dollar Tree frame is not even, but I think it's still going to work out for us, hopefully. All the wires are attached, but there's just a bigger gap here. They welded it too high at those 2 points. Okay, last one. And then I also wanted to show you guys wood burning. So I saved 2 pieces of mesh to cut with my wood burning tool. So I'm going to do that next, so that way then I can get the wood burner out of the way and not have a bad accident. Okay, so we're going to actually be using 2 different sizes of mesh. These 2, the poly meshes, are going to be on the base, and this is the ones that we're going to make the Klever petal with. So these are cut to 21 inches long. So I cut 21 inches long for the Klever petal. And then this is the one we're going to use on top of that for the cruffles. So I'm going to actually make cruffles with this, and I cut these to 18 inches long. Okay, so I'm going to cut 2 of these at 18 inches. And you'll need 6 of each of the colors, since we have 18 pipe cleaners, 3 different mesh types or mesh colors. You'll need 6 of each. Or you can do it with 1 mesh color, 2 mesh colors, however you prefer. Okay, let me find my 18. Okay, so I have a glass board on top of my cutting mat, and it is clear. So I'm just putting the edge at the 0 mark. And then I'm just going to come up here and find the 18. And then I'm just going to do my best to do a straight line right along that 18. And I always take my finger after I get the beginning cut and place on this, because if not, your mesh will curl up and make your line go crooked. This wide strip mesh is a little thicker than the poly mesh, so I noticed that I do have to go a little bit slower when I'm pulling the tool. So we'll do one more. You have to go a little bit slower just to make sure that it cuts all of the pieces. So I'm just going to start the beginning there, and then I'm going to take my finger and just hold that. And then just do my very best to stay in the line, which I did not, but it's okay. It was close enough. Okay. And so wood burning just helps cut down on the frame, because it burns it and causes little bubbles on the end of the pieces of mesh here that kind of make it hold together a little better. I definitely like to wood burn. I did not, everybody who watches me knows, hi Barbara, knows that I did not like to wood burn previously, but when I'm doing petals, and even my own petal, the one that I made up, I do like to wood burn. Because those types of designs tend to fray. And I just noticed I'm going to move my glass mat off my mat too, because we have a really bad glare. This thing is very heavy. This is actually off of an end table. It was the glass top to an end table. And We just repurposed it. Okay, so we'll get our frame and we'll start out with making a couple Klever petals. We will start with the blue. Okay, so when I make these, this is 10-inch mesh cut to 21 inches long. I just take the bottom corner and fold it up to the top corner. So I'm kind of making like a triangle with wings, I guess. Is the top deco burlap? No, it is not. It is wide strip poly mesh. So all of these are poly mesh, but the difference between these two is that they're the solid colors are a standard poly mesh, and then this color is a wide strip mesh. So it's poly with these wide strips woven through. Okay, and somewhere I lost my clip. Okay, here's the clip. So I'm just going to put this here. It's not necessary, but it just helps me keep it together. And then I can pick it up while I hold this corner in place, flip it over, fold the bottom in. I'm coming in about 1.5 inches or so. And then just scrunch the two sides in together. And it gives us like this little petal point. And the reason I decided to do, I'm probably going to do the majority of my fall designs with this Klever petal base because all of the wreaths that I've made using this so far have sold except for one, and it's a fall design, so I'm not surprised that it hasn't sold yet. I think that people are really liking the look of the points that it gives around the perimeter of the outside of the wreath. So, and I just think that design looks good for fall. So I'm going to probably do a lot of designs this way for my fall. Okay, and I'm right now only using the outside 12 pipe cleaners. So I'm going to leave these 6 on the inside, and I'm only going to do the 12 to start with. Okay, so we'll do one more Klever petal together, and then I did do the rest of them ahead of time. So folding the bottom corner, my bottom left to the top, my bottom right to the top left. Okay, and then I'm just going to fold this in right here at the bottom. Again, I'm folding in, it's probably about 1.5 inches. Let's just measure. Actually, it's more 2 inches, closer to 2 inches. And then put the clip, hold it in place and turn it over. Do the same thing on this other side. And that is how we make them. Okay. And I am doing cruffles on top, so I'm not doing all of the Klever petals because I also like the depth and the fullness that the cruffle gives by using it on top. I also like that it gives it not only different dimension, but texture. And if you watch me any time at all, you know that I like to really mix things up. Methods, designs, colors, patterns. Yes, Linda, all 3 of these came from Craft Outlet. This is a light teal mesh. This is the orange standard poly mesh. And then this is the wide strip. And that's what you should be able to find them by searching those terms on Craft Outlet. I'm a pretty good fan of the wide strip mesh since I've started using it. I just started using that in the last year. But I really like it. It's thicker and a little more substantial than the standard mesh. I like to use the standard mesh on my bottom layer because most of the mesh that we do on the bottom is covered up anyway. And so it's a little bit less expensive, and it's a way to still make a beautiful design and keep your costs down. And that's the reason I'm doing, you could do just, if you're making just one wreath, you could buy just this mesh and use it on the whole entire design. And then that might save you money. But if you're like me and you make hundreds of wreaths, it's more economical for me to use like the 2 different color standard mesh on the bottom and then this on the top because this one is a couple dollars more expensive per roll. Okay, so we're just going to rotate these colors all the way around. So we are going to be using 12 of these, 6 orange, 6 blue. If you're watching me on TikTok, I did forget to mention, if you have questions or leave comments, I will answer them at the end. I am live on my phone, so I'm not able to see the comments as they come in, but at the end I'll scroll back through and answer them. I need to find a way to get it on a bigger screen. And I do put all these petals out because, like I said, I like the look of the point that comes out behind the mesh that we're going to lay on top of here. And they've done very well in my shop, so I'm going to continue to experiment with this and see. Now, I will probably also, once the wreath is done, spray these petals on the outside. Even though I wood burnt, sometimes they'll still fray. So I will probably spray them with the E6000 spray because I've found so far that's to be pretty effective of stopping the fraying. Might need to slide that one over. Boy, I put that pipe cleaner tight. Okay. I'm so happy to finally get to be live. You're welcome. I'm happy to even just be making a wreath. I haven't even been able to, I've been busy with personal life, so I haven't even made a wreath in 2 weeks. That is just, I can't even tell you. It's been years since that happened. Okay. Well, I guess not years because it happened when I had my back surgery. So I guess that wasn't a completely true statement. Okay, so we have one more to put in here. Using these petals gives me, I don't know about you guys, but actually I know of like a flower bait, which I guess kind of makes sense since they're shaped a little bit like petals. Okay, so next we are going to add some ribbons before we do the second layer of mesh. And I think I'm going to just rotate my 4 ribbons, one in each pipe cleaner. Let me see, I might do 2. Actually, before we do ribbons, we need to get our glue drying. So I'm going to go ahead and put my cable mounts. I'm almost out of DAP glue, you guys, and I just did an Amazon order and forgot to order them. I'm going to have to do that. Somewhere when I was moving stuff around, I knocked one down, so I'm just going to grab another one. And these cable mounts come with this little paper on the back because it has this sticky pad, but don't trust just the sticky pad to hold it. Make sure that you use some type of permanent glue fix, either the Rapid Fuse DAP or the E6000 or something similar. Barbara, the E6000 spray is on both Walmart.com and Amazon. Let me grab it here and show you. This is what it looks like. Just make sure when you use this that you rinse out the nozzle with hot water, completely empty the nozzle and the tubing of glue, and then rinse it out with hot water between each use, because it'll clog up if you don't do that. But I've done that every time, and so far it's been perfect for me. I've used it 3 or 4 times now. How did you roll the mesh? You mean the Klever petal? Is that what you're asking about? Boy, this bottle's really getting low. I even turned it upside down ahead of time, hoping it would come out a little faster. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to do 2 at the bottom and 1 at the top. It doesn't take much of this glue, you just need a little bit, but I make a lot of wreaths, so I've burned through a bottle already. And then I just take the sticky and put right over top of the glue. And then by the time we finish with the rest of the wreath design, this will be ready for us to attach. It will be cured and set up. Yes, okay. Give me a second and I'll show you one more time how I did this petal, okay? Okay, so we'll just set our little turkey to the side and let him dry. And then I'm gonna use, well, let me cut, well, I already turned off my wood burner. I'm gonna use a piece of mesh that I'm not using on this wreath to show you again how I did the Klever petal. Okay. For the Klever petal, these pieces are, it's 10-inch wide mesh and they're cut to 21 inches long. And then to make that petal, I just take the curled side up of the mesh and lay it out. I take the bottom left corner. I keep saying left. This is my right, probably your left. So on my bottom right, and fold it up to the top left corner. And then I come down to the bottom here and I fold this bottom in about 1.5 to 2 inches, keeping this lined up. It's real, I keep saying 1.5 to 2 inches, but I'm coming in 2 inches just about every time. Okay. And then to help me, I put a clip just to hold this piece in place. And then I take my thumb and hold this corner up here in place so it doesn't slide. Turn it over and just repeat the same thing on the other side. Doing the same thing here at the bottom, keeping this lined up. And then I just scrunch it in the middle from each side and bring it into the middle, just like that. So that's how I make the Klever petals. Okay, I'm not going to use that one though because we've already done all these. And then on this top layer, I'm going to do cruffles. So, all right, let's see. I think I'm going to do 2 ribbons per pipe cleaner this time. Just mix it all up. This is one of those ribbons it's hard to tell the top from the bottom. Pretty sure this is the top. Okay. So I'm going to put the blue and white behind the pumpkin. And when I do 2 ribbons on my bottom layer, I lay them in front of me in a crisscross pattern. So kind of like an X, but a small narrow X. And then scrunch in the middle. And then I V them all back towards myself so that these 2, which I don't have them lined up, I make sure that I'm lining up these 2. Okay. And then you just pick it straight up and place it in your pipe cleaner. And this is the last thing I'm going to add to these pipe cleaners. So as I go, I'm going to go ahead and snip them off. I leave about 1/2 inch or so when I snip it off, and then I push that down and squeeze it and press it down so that it holds my ribbons tight. And then I just fan out my ribbons so they lay the way I want. Okay. And now we'll do the turkey with this check, the teal and orange check or plaid. So again, just a small X, scrunch in the middle, pull it back to myself, make sure I've got these lined up. So you're just kind of making like a little fan, I guess you could call that, in your hand. And then place in the next pipe cleaner. I twist probably 4 times or so. And then I just adjust the ribbons and straighten them how I want them to go. Okay. I just love this turkey sign, so I was pretty excited to do this design. Something a little different for fall. It may lend itself more to Thanksgiving, but I think it could still be used for fall. And I am a huge fan of the teal orange color combo for fall time, as well as pinks. So I hope this is one of those designs that turns out on the table the way it is in my head. I also think this turkey ribbon is just adorable. If you like the turkey ribbon but didn't want to get the whole kit, I do have the turkey ribbon by itself in my shop too. Now, if you didn't want to do what I'm doing with placing both ribbons in at the same time, you could do them one at a time too. And just leave them back towards yourself and then place them in how you want them to lay. If you do them one at a time, it does give you more control. A little more control over the placement of the ribbons. I need a bigger table. I need a bigger house. How many inches are the ribbons? All of these are cut to 12 inches long, Barbara. Sorry, I should have mentioned that. And the two plaid ones are 1.5 inch ribbon, and the pumpkin and the turkey are 2.5 inch ribbons. I've actually had my eye on doing a turkey design for a couple years now, and I'm just now getting to it. So we're about halfway around. Doesn't matter how big your table is. That's true. I was working on like half this amount of space when I first started doing live videos. So I think I could, you're absolutely right. It wouldn't matter how big it is. I would still need it bigger. I also love, this is one of my favorite fall ribbons. I think it's very pretty. I wish some of these ribbons were available in a 50-yard roll, but some of them just aren't. You have to get the 10 yards. Is that the blue you're using for the football wreath? I was actually going to order a different mesh for it, but to save cost and money, I may use the same. I may use the same mesh. I was thinking about that actually, Shannon, as I was getting this design ready, because I have enough of these colors already, and it would prevent me, just one less thing I would have to order. I was kind of eyeballing the fabric mesh, the orange and teal fabric mesh, but I might just do this one. I might just use this mesh. I also was looking at the, they have a leopard print mesh with like leopard print border. That would probably go good with that design. Okay, we have just a few more, and then we can start working on our second layer. And see how using this Klever petal, so much more of the mesh shows underneath the ribbon tails. All my designs before, you guys know, I did cruffles, like the whole design, and cruffles, which are beautiful, and I still love that design, and I will still do those. But when you do the cruffle, the mesh is pretty much covered by your ribbon tails, and I think that's why these are selling so well for me. Is I think people are liking this extra little dimension. That using the petal does or gives it. The watermelon one that I did really well. Okay, 2 more ribbon bundles. And I only, I'll have to cut some more ribbon for our second layer, but that's okay. Cutting ribbon tails won't take us very long. Oops. I really already have them measured and everything. I just have to dovetail them. I wasn't sure if I was going to use them or not, but then after I started putting it together, I decided to use a lot of ribbon because I felt like I could use more ribbon with this mesh sticking out more. And still see all of our ribbon pieces. Okay, last one. This is the very end of the roll on this that I'm using, so it's a little wrinkled. Try to straighten it out a little. And when I put my last piece in here, I'm going to have to fix the layering so that it lays the same as the rest of the ribbons. Right now we have both sides on top, and we need to just make sure that it's layering the same way. So I'm going to go to my right and pull these 2 ribbons up and just layer them over top. And now everything's laying the same way. So we have turkey, pumpkin, all the way around. Okay, so now We're going to reach in here, and these 6 pipe cleaners we haven't used yet, just pull them straight out to the outside. Okay, and so now we're going to make 6 cruffles. So those last pieces, the last 6 pieces of mesh, the one that is the 2 different colors, we're going to use for cruffles. And when I make cruffles, I just lay again with the curl side up, lay it out in front of me, and then fold it over 2, 3. I usually do 4 times. This mesh is 18 inches. Hi, darling. How are you? Do you ever spray glue on the petals ahead of time? I haven't done that yet, Shannon, but it's a very good idea. If I was a little more organized with things right now, I probably would, because I think that it would be more effective if I could spray them ahead of time even. You can better tell where you're spraying and make sure you're getting the tips, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so once I do a curl on each end, I just turn it face down, scrunch up the middle. You don't have to turn it face down if you want. You can leave curl side up. It's up to you. I just have developed a habit of putting curl side down because I feel like it keeps these cut edges and sometimes that pop out. It keeps them a little better protected. Okay, and then I'm just going to move it in here and lay finished edge to the right and left. So when I lay it on the design, it's going to look kind of like a little bow tie. So this is the finished edges to the right and left. Okay, and I didn't make any of the cruffles ahead of time, so we'll make all those together. I'll show you slowly one more time. Okay, curl side up. That way it can just kind of naturally curl. 4 times. I fold over, turn that away from me after I put my clip on it. Makes it much easier. And then 2, 3, 4. Turn my curls face down. Crunch slowly, like small pieces up the middle to give it like a ruffled look. So that's what it looks like. And just place it down in the next pipe cleaner with finished edge to the right and the left. Okay, and then I like to take and just kind of butt the edges of them up together. Okay, so we'll do 4 more couples. And this mesh is really sticking to itself. You see, I like the depth that the thickness that the cruffles give it. Okay, 2 more. I do not always, if I'm using all cruffles, I don't always wood burn for that because your cut edges are curled under. And then I even do the added protection of turning them face down to keep this, if this pops out, to keep it protected. So I don't always wood burn when I do cruffles. Sometimes I cut with scissors or a rotary cutter. But with petals, and this petal particularly, well, all petals, um, I highly recommend wood burning. That's actually what got me started wood burning, was working with these petals. And it does make a huge difference. As soon as your heating tools are up, oh, I would love to see it, Barbara. If you try this pattern, I would love to see a picture. You can send it to me in messages or however. You have this mesh in green and black. You used it for the Eagle side of the football. I'd love to get it in different. Oh, yeah. I'm really a big fan of this mesh. Yeah, I didn't realize you used the same one in the football wreath. That makes sense. And really, the wide strip mesh is it's not that much more expensive. Like it, I mentioned earlier, it is a little more expensive than standard poly mesh, but it's not that in comparison to like poly burlap and other types of mesh. It's not that expensive, but it's really pretty, and the colors are really bright, and the texture. I love the dimension and texture, and it's more substantial, so it stands up better. It holds its shape better, so I like it. Okay, so now we're going to need some more ribbons. And I have them already folded in the right size over here. So I am just going to dovetail the ends. I'm basically cutting and dovetailing at the same time. Of course, I cut that one too close. So you've used the solid colors. Yeah, I've used both, and I really like it in both. I first discovered it when I ordered the yellow, because the yellow was the right tone that I wanted for a bee wreath and that bee garland that I did last year. And I ordered it for that, and then when I got it, I was really impressed. I really liked it. Boy, am I struggling. Okay. Sorry, I just have to make sure this is straight before I snip it. Oh, I just messed up one of my ribbon pieces. Okay, so I'm gonna have to replace that one. It's now too short. I think actually it was just too short, period. I don't think I messed it up. I think I just had cut it too short. Okay, so I'm going to use the same pattern. So I'm going to match the ribbons the same way. It's really not that much different. Maybe I'll try to make it work. All right, we'll see. Okay, so I'm going to keep the blue and white. I think I had put that with the pumpkin. And the reason I did them the reason I paired them the way that I did is because both of these ribbons have all three of my primary colors in them. And so I wanted to make sure that I rotated these two. So that's why I put this one behind the turkey and then the blue and white behind this one. Hopefully that makes sense the way I'm explaining that. Oh, and when I do my top layer, instead of making this small X, I'm going to make my X a little bit bigger. And scrunch up the middle. But I'm not going to V it back towards myself. I'm going to actually keep it in like an X pattern. Okay. Put this down in here. I turned on my glue gun. I did not have my battery on charge though, so I hope it holds up for us. And then I just take and fan my tails out, curl my ends down. And then we're just going to rotate the pattern. Let's see if this little short one's going to work. And when I'm putting my ribbons on top, I do the same thing. I twist 3 or 4 times and I leave about a 1/2 inch and I just push that down and squeeze to make sure the ribbons are tight. And then I'm just pushing underneath right down here next to the pipe cleaner to make a little bubble. So it gives it like that arch. Whoops, wrong one. No, I think that piece of ribbon's going to be fine. It was not off by too much. Oh, I didn't realize that either, Shannon. So you used that in the mouse? Yeah, I really like it. Okay, so now we need to do the turkey. I hate when you get to the inside of a roll of mesh and it's all crinkled up, and that's why I'm having to keep fighting with this particular mesh and straightening it out, because this is the very inside of the roll, and so it wasn't rolled onto the roll straight, so it wrinkled it up. And I'm using it in my design because I didn't want to create my wreath kits with wrinkled ribbon. So I used the straight ribbon in those, and then I'm using the crinkled ribbon in my design. Okay. So we got 2 more to go. I was reading somewhere about fall trends, and it said that blues and pinks for fall were going to be trending this year, which I'm kind of happy to hear because I love doing both. Okay, our last one. I do see one thing that I kind of wish I would have done different on this wreath, and as soon as I get this last ribbon in here, I'll tell you all what that is, and I'll tell you why. Um, with this plaid that has all three colors, it seems to be blending in with my mesh colors quite a bit. So I almost wish that I would have used all 6 pieces of this around the base and then saved the 6 pieces of this and used on the top. I'm not going to take it completely apart to change that, but sometimes when I get a design together, I realize something like that and I'm like, oh shoot, this plaid would have shown better against these solid colors than it is against the two-tone. But all in all, I'm pretty pleased with this so far. I think it looks very pretty. So let's get our turkey and get some pipe cleaners. So again, it's 21 total pipe cleaners, 18 for the wreath frame, and then we're going to use 3 on the sign. And these little cable mounts have holes on, it has 4 holes, all 4 sides that you can feed pipe cleaners through. They fit perfectly. And then just twist them in the back. This is a very easy, this is probably the easiest way that I have found for attaching signs. Whoops. Well, thank you, Shannon. Started with blue and pink and fall last year some. You're the queen of pink wreath. Oh, thank you. I do love pink wreath designs. And I also read in that same report, Shannon, pink is also supposed to trend for Christmas. So I was doing a little cheer. I love pink Christmas designs too. Okay, so I'm going to try and see the size, based on the size of my sign, if I can nestle him down in here with all these pretty curls just framing around it. And I do think that's going to work. I think he's going to fit in there just perfectly. So I'm going to take these pipe cleaners and just feed them down in between 2 of the Klever petals that are on the bottom. So I'm going underneath the cruffle between 2 of the Klever petals down to the wireframe. Okay. And then I'm just going to twist around 2 of the rings on the frame. And he's just cute though. I just think that's so cute. I like things that are a little bit whimsical, I guess. I tend to go toward color patterns and theme schemes and designs and signs and things that are a little bit on the whimsical side. Okay, so again, I'm going behind the curl and in between 2 of the Klever petals, and I'm wrapping it around 2 of the rings on the frame. And I don't want to pull it too tight because I don't want to sink it clear to the back of the wreath, but I do want it to sit down in a little bit so these curls kind of frame around it. And then we got to just do this top one now. I'm just going to make sure I've got him centered pretty well. And do the same thing between the petals. And the glue gun stayed on, so we're going to be good to go. We're going to be able to glue our pumpkins. I thought they would look really cute with their little turkey. Okay, and so what I'm going to do with these little pumpkins, and I actually got these from when I bought all those supplies I've mentioned before from another wreath maker. These little pumpkins were in there. They are Bloom Room brand fall pumpkins. It looks like the original price was $9.99. They were probably on sale. These may be, a lot of her stuff was from Michael's and Hobby Lobby, so these may be from there. I'm not 100% sure. They're good quality though. I can't tell if they're foam or plastic. I think they're plastic. I don't think they are foam. So we're going to use 6 of these. And I think they're just the right size for the little touch that I'm wanting. Because I didn't want something huge and overwhelming, just like a little embellishment. Everything's catching on my mesh. Okay. We're going to cut the bag because we're not going to cut my mesh. All right. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we have like 6 little pockets here. And I'm just going to put like one of these little pumpkins in each pocket. That one is defective. And actually, because that had a chunk out of it, I could see they are foam on the inside. So I'm not going to use that one. And to attach them, I'm just going to use my Ryobi glue gun. Put a healthy dose of glue, but my glue right now is probably a little too hot for foam. So I probably shouldn't have got it quite so hot. I'm just going to put one like that in each of these 6 sections. With foam, you have to be careful if you're using a super hot glue gun because it will melt the foam. Normally I would wait and let it cool off a little bit, but I wanted to go ahead and complete the project with you guys, so I'm going to go ahead and make it work. Yeah, I think the pumpkins are a nice little addition. What do you guys think? I think that kind of just ties it all up. And it hides these pipe cleaners, which we used orange, so they kind of blend in anyway. So if you don't have pumpkins, you know, it's not necessary, but just a nice little touch. Okay, so there it is. He's all finished. I'll try to hold him up and get the glare off. Let me know what you guys think. Now you want to make a fall wreath. I know I'm excited to finally be starting in fall. Normally, you guys, it's July. I am normally done or wrapping up fall at this point and starting Christmas. So I'm a little behind, but not too much. A couple weeks worth. So I'm going to be trying to squeeze in time to get as many fall designs done as I can. So hopefully I can still do half of the month of July and Christmas. Thank you, Barbara. Yeah, he turned out like I envisioned. Just that one small adjustment. I think, you know, if I had known, if you could see it in advance before you put it together, I would have made that one small change. But I still think it's absolutely adorable. And I love the colors. Okay, guys. Well, I so appreciate you guys joining me. You all have a wonderful evening. And if you are on TikTok, I will answer your questions in just a minute. I'll see you guys again soon, hopefully. And thank you. I've missed you guys too so much. Thank you. Good night.